right, so time for another one. So we're getting back on our INDIO grind. So we've got ourselves the Jefferson median sign here. So it's in 3 parts. They're going to pour a concrete wall, and then we're going to mount some 4-foot regular channel letters right to each side. And then it's going to have this kind of decorative mountain structure in the middle. It's just going to involve some 3x3s and some 090 with some expanded metal, perf metal. Don't quite know what that means yet. So basically for this video, I went ahead and got all the letters and the raceways out for both sides. And then I'm going to get the information come Monday. I'm going to drill down on the mountain part for you to get you more information for that. So for right now, though, we're just going to concentrate on the letters, the raceways, get those knocked out. So with that being said, let's get after it. So we got the lay of the land here. 090 backer letters, got some scribes and whatnot on them. You've got your, these are going to be like the supports on the inside that are going to give it some structure. Plus, these are what you mount the 063 white inserts to, your LEDs. So we got ourselves a quote-unquote standard Mark 6, but it is a SOP mod for this particular project. So don't get the parts mixed up because we have specialized parts for this particular job. So those playing along at home, you can Google what SOP mod means. And then these are the aforementioned mountains. Go ahead and get these routed, get them cleaned up, but set them aside. And I'm going to get you all the information you need for that coming up. Maybe do a whole different video or something. So here's the 063 returns. Since these are easy to kind of send out, I went ahead and did the layouts for you so you guys can fly through, give you the info on that. And you recognize these. These are our 063 whites. And speaking of 063 white, you've got raceway parts for the back of the walls. And we have the white 3/16 acrylic, and this goes through that whole process. So get these to first shot quickly, get them vinyled, and then get them back to you, get them trim capped, and then back there to get them, all that. So get those going. You got a couple of patterns for install. I'll be going over some stuff on install. I don't normally send a pattern for the raceway part, but I'll show you what's up with that for install. So we'll go over that in a second. But first, fabrication, always fab. As I say in the industry, I got you, fam. So this looks familiar. I'm sure you've seen this before, how this all rolls. So you're going to take your 09, and it will be the regular channels, but the reverse channel style. So put the returns on the top, seams to the side, bondo. When it comes time for the returns, what I did was I went ahead and gave you an extra inch where I could. And then I clipped it so that way there's no shadow to the face. If you choose to just leave that, and that's fine, you can. The only downside is I only went in line on these about 3/8 of an inch. So that means that let's get to let's say like the end here. So you can see where I gave you the extra inch going long. Now this is overemphasized. It's not that bad, but you'll have your inch sticking out. So you might have to carve a little bit off this, or you'll have to carve your white, either way. But I thought it was best to go long because that way, science-wise, it's better to have this extra sticking out on both sides. If you just go right close to it, not only is it hard to weld, but you don't get a good fillet weld, but the heat has nowhere to go, so it just goes back into the weld, and that's how you get the bubbles. When you close up a seam, it bubbles on the outside and looks like crap, and it's a lot of work. So it's actually advantageous to actually have this much extra. So that way, when you do your weld right here, this acts as a heat sink to get rid of that extra heat. So you get actually a better weld, you get a better seam that way. That being said, the notch starts at an 1/8 right here. So if you guys are brave enough, if you want to send these through the stomp shear and maybe chomp off some extra before you start, if that's how if you guys want to do that, feel comfortable doing that, go ahead. If you dared to go right to this, that'll only leave you with an 1/8 to tack. So, whatever you want to do, if you want to leave it long, that's fine. But again, so you got an extra inch out. Also, I went ahead instead of just having, because these are, 4 foot, it's not small, but it's not big. I went ahead and made these bends to where that way you'll have that strength, and this will automatically set you up for a good 90 degree, keeps things all square. And then you can burn along in here, and then you can tack to the end here and make these corners nice and strong. So when they go to put them on the wall, there's no shenanigans. So same thing here. When this comes this way, bam, butt it up against, I gave you an inch long here, and then you're going to be good to go there. and then you can see where everything sort of goes along. So you'll be able to use this as your sort of template, kind of your layout, your map. So, but maybe do like an eye and see how much, and then maybe, like I say, you can run these through the stomp shear before you bend everything up completely. So choose your own adventure, dealer's choice. Just giving you a heads up there. For the roundies, I went ahead and made the reference kiss. I didn't make it too big, because sometimes when you make a reference kiss like this, it shows up when you bend it on the other side. So I just gave you a little dot that goes to the back side. So that's where the bend starts. And that will correspond to, I did put the scribes here on the roundy. So, and the reason why I went with 063 is, yes, it's lighter as well, but I just tried to, go easy on you guys. It's always sucks to try to do these insides on 090. It's pretty, pretty tough. So again, I got you. So you guys recognize this. Go ahead and give it the little HVAC steez, a little bit of a little baby bends. Give it some, sometimes stiffness is good. Give it some structure, and then you're going to do your tetras, probably 2, right? Like you guys done probably two lines of tetras on that. So you're good to go. These guys here, just rivet them together. The stiffeners, you have your B for back, and that's going to correspond to the Cleco holes to align to the backs of the letters. After you guys get the returns on these, then you guys can put these in. Not sure if you guys want to rivet them or weld them in, tack them in after you, because you'll have tacked this too, so it's going to be a little wobbly. Or if you want to lords them in, again, dealer's choice. But that's going to be where you mount your white against. So that should give us 4 inches to the face for your tetras. Still plenty of glow, and then that gives us an 1/8 inch, or I brought it in at what did I bring it in? Yeah, 7/8. So it's actually 4 inches smooth to the face there. So you guys got 4 inches to play with. I'll leave that there. I'm not going to say nothing. Of course, I just did. So there's your letters. I think you guys got that figured out. Raceway. So it's going to be kind of a combination of both because originally, the way it's drawn, it's got these ground vaults, but these are never good. They fill up with water. Plus, running secondary that long, you're past your 15 feet, all that nonsense. So I kind of came up with a way of taking our normal Mark 6 and putting it in the middle of the Raceway, and then you can see where it kind of matches up with the letter holes here. But the fact that it has to fit in between the 2 Raceways, that's why I gave Install. This will be for Install here. That's why I gave you this pattern. So the idea is that you kind of want to put this up there first, and then you're going to nestle the 2 Raceways against it as close as you dare, because you need to be able to get the front cover off. But if you put these up against there, then the front cover doesn't fit. So it's all about getting this guy nailed down first, put the cover on, and then bringing these guys in. Now, the way I have this set up for Install is that you're going to take this paper pattern, and theoretically, this is where the power hole for O is going to be on the back side of the wall. So once you get the letters up there, you've burned your power holes all the way through the wall. You should see your 3/8 holes coming through. So if you want to take the pattern and just cut a hole in the paper, then you should be able to see the power hole on the concrete for the I. That's this guy. And then you should be able to come over here and see put a hole here, and you'll get the power hole for the O. That will be where you can lay this out, and then go ahead and do your blue screws, get them all ready to go. Then you're going to go ahead and just mount that Mark 6 right there in the middle, and then you can nestle up. Now I have a 1/16 here, but you can see where you're going to want to take this lid off. And if you put these 2 close or whatever, you're not going to be able to work this lid, the cover here. So anyway, and I went ahead and made the holes rovals here, so you can kind of adjust left and right as you tighten it down to make sure this is a nice snug fit. Now, the reason why this is SOP mod, again, you don't want to confuse the parts because they will work, except it won't work. So the lid is SOP mod because I made it wider, so that it sticks out a whole extra inch to make sure it covers up this seam, even though this is only going to be secondary. We just don't want water getting in. So the lid's wider on this one, and then the ingress and egress of the power. So I took what we normally do is have this hole up top here, right? That's where our power comes in. And then the lid is notched. The front cover is notched up here. So instead, that part, the backer is different, and that's going to be allowing the LED wires out. And then, of course, that's notched for that. So that's, and then that corresponds to the 2 Raceways. So you have a left and a right side, even though they are basically typical, but one side has the overhang for water. And you have E for end, M for middle, and P for power side. So on the left, your P is onto the right and your E is to this side, and you got your middle. And then on the right-hand side, where you pass the Dutchie, you go ahead and put the E on one side, you put the M and you put the P, and then they come together, and then there's your chocolate and your peanut butter, and it's all good. So basically that's it. So modified Mark 6 and some of these guys here. Now the covers are typical, doesn't matter which side they go to. Also, don't forget this is double layered, so don't automatically cruise control rivet this with this with this and leave this off. This is going to be like a sandwich. You're going to catch this onto this and then sandwich everything into these guys up here. So the top is a double stack. So don't forget to do that. Otherwise it's a sad day and you have to drill out all the rivets. So anyways, just a heads up on that. So that's it for that. So do the letters, do the raceways, and then we're good. Now, again, I will get you the information. So here you can see the issue though. Technically, it's going to be these 3x3s, and these are just over 10 feet. You got 6 of them, and then it's drawn with this 1x3 rectangle in the middle. So how is that? And then each one has its own footing. So there's no way we're going to weld some 1x3 to a bunch of sticks this big and make it out there. Do these need to be there? Are we just going to put these in? Are we going to do like a temporary screw thing where they can just take this out there, put each one individual, and then screw it together, hold it, pour it, and then you're just going to shoot. So install, all they're going to do is shoot these onto the 3x. It's kind of simple. But the main thing is just how do we get these 3x out there? How do we get them level to each other where they're supposed to be? All that. So that's information that I need to figure out for you guys. Do we weld this in, and do we also weld where we can't see some sticks and then create like you guys do for the steel for the park, make one unit that goes over there? Again, I'll get that information for you cats. And then also not sure what the expanded metal is going to be back here yet, but we want it to be aluminum, just to give you a heads up, spoiler alert. So these are 48 wide. So you're just going to take the expanded metal and maybe stomp shear some rectangles, line it up, tack it, and then bring in some cutting wheels. Make sure you get the cutting wheels. And I know, you guys with your fancy X-lock and whatever, make sure you have plenty of cutting wheels for your grinders in order to trim this off. So that's what you're going to do, is just put the mesh or expanded metal, whatever it is. You're going to fill this up. And then once it's tacked, you can just, because it'll just be a rectangle, just cut it right off like an eighth inch down and trim it. Now, also, whether or not you trim it to the size on the bottom, or if that mesh goes all the way, because you can see here, it's drawn sort of full mesh all the way to the bottom. So I don't know if we want to do that or if we want to cut the mesh along here, because you won't see it either way. So again, I'll get that information for you and pass that on. So otherwise, but that's mountains. But go ahead and get these, washed up, cleaned up and everything, and just set them aside, and then you'll get all that info. But yeah, you'll need cutting wheels for that. And you also might need cutting wheels to cut off your extra inch I gave you on everything here. So bring in some cutting wheels for your fancy grinders. But other than that, I think you guys got it. Yep. So if you have any questions, as usual, you can hit me up. Otherwise, we're all counting on you. Good luck.